So when we're looking at the population breakdown of Europe, Europe's population is roughly around 740 million people. This is a large amount of people. This is the third largest continent based off of population in the entire world. This is the third largest one. Third to Africa and Asia. Those two continents serve a large portion of humanity, carrying about 1 billion and 2 billion apiece. Now, when it comes to Europe, Europe's population is also dense. So when talking about population density, it's always important to understand the concept of the number of people per square mile. So if you look at let's say, a city, and a square mile consists of a mile leading or rounding up to the amount of, or a square leading up to amount of a mile. And in Europe, there's about 72 people per square mile. Different places of the world have different population densities, but the larger amount of people per square mile means the larger amount of density. So let's say you had 1,000 people per square mile. That is insanely dense. Those are populations like in Beijing or Shanghai. And then if you have like 2 people per square mile, that's out in the country. That's out in the rural areas. No one really lives out there. 72 is generally a high number for the whole continent. That is pretty large. Europe in general, when it comes to its population, is kind of experiencing a slight decline as the years go by, but that is generally due to population getting more advanced and industrialized. And as populations get more industrialized and advanced, they tend to have declining birth rates, similar to like Japan or the United States. Now, Europe is a very diverse population. Europe is a very diverse population. It includes multiple different ethnic groups. You got the English, you got the Spanish, the Italians, the Portuguese, the French, the Germans, the Slavs, the Russians, various different ethnic groups that encompass the entire continent. Each of them have their own distinct languages, but generally share a consensus of like learning multiple different languages in the one continent. Also, Europe is kind of unbalanced population-wise. Some portions of the continent are heavily populated, while other portions are not. For example, Western Europe has a greater population than Eastern Europe, and the large cities of Europe have, again, of course, a greater population than, of course, the rural areas. Now, Europe's population diversity is really increasing with the amount of immigration from India, Africa, and the Middle East. You're really getting a change and shifting of immigration and the population of different countries. Now, different countries have a different level of popularity when it comes to the different immigration populations. So there's some countries that have a lot coming in, but have very little going out. And then some countries have the opposite. So generally countries like Germany, England, France, and Italy are generally increasing their population because of immigration. But nations like Poland, Finland, the Scandinavian nations are generally declining in their population as the years go by. Alrighty, so pretty much what we learned here, Europe has the third largest population when it comes to a continent. Its diverse population ranges into different ethnic groups from not only in Europe, but from all over the world.